Shalom, what is it of souls by giving no praise to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, Bashem Kakodash, double honors the apostle, great most, and honors you brothers doing the work, the most on truth and in sincerity. Yahweh's real name, of whom the word English calls God, Jehovah, Yahweh, his real name is Yahweh. The son's true name is Yahweh Shai, and when you pray Yahweh, Ba Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba meaning in, Ha meaning that, and Sham meaning names, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai. Quick one, this is just everyone wants to see the good guy win. Right, that's because ultimately, you got all these, primarily Jake, right, but all of these heathen nations, basically everyone other than Esau, right, is through, right, because right now this is Esau's kingdom. Right now he's let some people of these other heathen nations live good, but for the most part, it is him that is living good, right? So this is what does it say? I was trying to remember the phrasing. I know this in Psalm 70 something. Yeah. This is Psalm 73 and 5, right? It says, well, I'll start from 3. For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. So it's these devils that are prospering at this moment in time, right? So for there are no bands in their deaths, but their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. So when you're looking at the elites of these devils, right? And then some of these other Edomite devils, they're living good, right? Once again, when we look at all of those what they refer to as unsecured deposits, as has been in the news to do with like Silicon Valley Bank, etc., right? Where if you've got more than 250K in your account, right, then you lose that, right? That is the law in the states in that particular bank, right? So Jake wasn't worried about that, right? For the most part, that was just Edomites, and then you would have had sprinkled in there, some of these other nations, which is why, for instance, you have the story of Lazarus, right? Lazarus and the rich man, right? So therefore, pride compasseth them about as a chain, violence covereth them as a garment, right? So because they basically been given this position, what have they been doing? They've just been going around taking peace from the earth, right? Revelation 6 and 4 says, unto him was given a great sword, right? That they should hurt and kill one another. So that's basically what this man's been going around doing, right? In his history, you read Habakkuk the second chapter says that he neither keepeth at home, right, and is never satisfied. So that is this man's mo, and as such, everyone's hurt, everyone's through. This is Proverbs 29 and 2. This is when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. And man, a people ain't rejoicing. Right? People right now are hurt, right? You might, move to the hills somewhere, to the woods, some woodland, in an obscure country. But guess what, right? One way or another, right? Esau's damaged that area, right? Because he's polluting the air, he's polluting the water, and it's all a system, right? That's why, for instance, a big thing that happens in, would you call it, is acid rain, for example, right? Then you got like, the pollution that will, yeah, polluted smoke that will go from one country to another country, right? So basically, long story short, this man and his ways has done nothing but ruin the nations, right? Right, and ruin the earth. And what does the Lord have to say about that? For example, is Revelation 11 and 18. It says, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and to them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroyed the earth. Right, and the primary destroyer of the earth is the Edomite. Okay, so it says, continue on, it says, but when the wicked bear fall, the people are mourn. But it says, but when the wicked bear fall, the people mourn. Once again, that's what we see all over the world, right? People just mourning, right? Same thing again, Isaiah 24, 4 from verse 4. I'm going to read a bit into it, right? It says, the earth mourneth and fadeth away, the world languisheth and fadeth away, the holy people of the earth do languish, right? So this earth is suffering, right? So the animals want a new world order, right? And deep down, the people want a new world order too, right? But not Esau's new world order. They want the righteous world order, right? That is to come, right? This is Hebrews 13:14, right? It's, starting off with, it's not this one that I want. I want Second Peter's 3:13, right? So this is starting off with the men in this truth, right? It says, nevertheless, we, according to His promise, look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. So, uh, uh, um, in the kingdom, right? Everything is, we're going to be righteous, right? The children of Israel are going to be perfect. And when we hear of disobedience to the law, guess what? It's going to get stamped out. Not like here in in Esau's kingdom where you'll be watching some of these videos and you just be see for instance, recently saw one chick. She said she was 18 and has been with like 300 men. And just like, what? At 18, so that means you've been going in, right? And that's wickedness, man, right? That's the world. That's what happens in Esau's world, right? That's not going to be happening in the world of Israel, right? Which is why ultimately one of the precepts we're going to get says the earnest expectation of the creatures for the manifestation of the sons of God, right? So we read that one, right? It says, verse 5, the earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof because they have transgressed the laws, right? And this is it, right? Because the laws are not followed, that's why you get all of these, all of this pain and all of this death, right? That you see all over the world. This is Romans 6:23. It says, for the wages of sin is death, right? But the gift of the Most High is eternal life through Yahweh Shai Mashiach, our Lord, right? So that is the ultimate you know that is the inevitability of sin, right? It will cause you to die. But when we look at all of these ailments, all of these sicknesses, all of these demons, ultimately that goes back to sin, right? So if you've got an illness, that is just a demon. The account is you can look for is with Simon Peter's wife's mother, right? This is real quick whilst it loads. Come on now. This is Luke 4:38, and he arose out of the synagogue and entered into Simon's house, and Simon's wife's mother was taken with a great fever, and they besought him for her, and he stood over and rebuked the fever, right, and it left her, right, and immediately she arose and ministered unto them, right. So all of these different illnesses and sicknesses, they're just demons, right, and they're on us because ultimately we went off, right, no matter what it is, that we may have. That's just what it is, right. Where is that? Micah 7:9. It says, Mark 7:9, I'll bear the indignation of Yahweh because I've sinned against him. Until he plead my cause and execute judgment for me, he will bring me forth to light, and I shall behold his righteousness. Right, so that's why we go through the things we go through. Right, but back to the subject. So Isaiah 24:5. Right, so that was the point here, because they have transgressed the laws, and ultimately that's it. That's what this is. One of the things that happens when the law is transgressed. Right, things become out of course. Right, as saith the scriptures. Right, it says, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. Right? It's going into the destruction. Right? It says, the new wine mourneth, the vine languisheth, all the merry hearted do sigh. The mirth of Tabreth ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, the joy of the harp ceaseth. Right? They shall not drink wine with a song. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink. The city of confusion is broken down. Right? Every house is shut up that no man may come in. Right? That's Babylon. Right? America. Right? And that no man may come in. Right? An example of that being them quarantines. Right? Esau had everyone all over the world more or less locked down. Right? For the sake of his agenda. Okay. Because on his part, he's trying to bring in an NWO New World Order agenda, but his NWO is completely wicked, man. Right? See, our NWO is righteousness, right? Yeah, you're gonna have casualties in the transition period, right? Yeah, these heathen nations are going to suffer for 1,000 years, right? For all of the wickedness that they have done, right? But guess what? Afterwards, it's all going to be good. They're going to be good afterwards, okay? It says, there is a crying for wine in the streets, and all joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. Right, wine. Right, this is wisdom. When the destruction is happening, the people will be looking for answers. Right, and that's another thing. Esau's basically created this society, right, where everyone's dumb. Right, no one understands what's going on, and everyone just goes around and is is just foolish to everything. Right, they have no idea what's going on and no understanding, right? And that ain't a good thing. But that's the way that Esau has set it up, right? He has created all of these different schemes and plots to keep people stupid, right? It's Ecclesiastes 10:6. Folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in low place, right? So folly, right, is set in great dignity in this kingdom, right? I mean, which I watch football, man. What Americans call soccer. I enjoy it, right? But you'll be seeing like grown ass men, right? Just like doing the most breakdowns. Yeah, but this player, his stats are this, and they'll be able to break all of that down, right? But when it comes to something important, right, like the things that affect their lives, they have no understanding, right? They don't know anything about it, right? But once again, that's that bread and circuses that this man has set up to keep people stupid, right? Right. Whereas in contrast, right, the Lord has had mercy on us and opened up our eyes. This is Isaiah 33:6. It says, "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thine times, and strength of salvation. The fear of Yahweh is his treasure." Right. So wisdom and knowledge is gonna be what keeps us safe and, more importantly, sane, right, of sound mind, right, in these last days, right? Whilst everyone else running around like headless chickens, right? Not knowing what the hell is going on, okay, Kala Yabashim Shai, we gonna be good. Those will be those men, right? Verse 12 says, in the city is left desolation, and the gate is mitten with destruction, right? And then continuing on about how things are right now, right? This is Jeremiah 50:23. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Right now, this if this doesn't describe the so-called white man, I don't know what does. Right? This man, what's the saying as well? Everything to a hammer looks like a nail. Every solution that the hammer thinks of is to basically hammer, right? And that's what this devil does. He goes to all of these different countries, right? In the news stories that you do hear about, and the news stories that you don't hear about, right? Because there's a whole load of black ops operations that happen that never get reported. Okay, but this man has just gone around just destroying things, man, destroying people, destroying lands, right? And these nations are pissed, right? And deep down, they know that this man's gonna go down, right? They deep down, they're like, yo, this man needs to go down, right? But the Lord is coming to make that a reality. This is Micah 2:2. It says, "And they cover fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage." Right? But here's the beautiful thing: Esau is gonna get taken down. Right? He is gonna be brought low. Right? This is Isaiah 14, and uh, I'll start from 14. 12, and I'll reread through it quick. It says, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer?" And that ain't talking about no red winged guy that fought against the Messiah, as is in a Christian dogma, right? Lucifer just represents a light bearer, right? It says, how art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? Yeah, and this devil's weakened the nations. He's gone around and just making everyone hurt, right? So for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will sit upon the mountain of the congregation of the sides of the north. I will send above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit, right? So he's going to be brought low, right? He's going to be brought real, real low, right? It says, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that are open not the houses of his prisoners, right? So that they're going to be basically looking at this devil in the way that they should be looking at him, right? And they're going to be happy. Is this the one where it says the whole earth is at rest? Or maybe that might be verse 13, right? In verse 13, chapter 13, rather, goes in to say how, look, man, this, the whole earth is at rest, right? Even the cedars of Lebanon, right, rejoice, saying no fellows come upon us. Because when this man goes down, the whole world is going to be, happy again, right? And just like how in films, in films, you might be watching films, seeing, what how it's going down. You're liking this, liking that, and you're seeing the story playing out. But ultimately, what does everyone want to do? They want to see the good guy win, right, and the bad guy get taken out. In fact, if I may call this, everyone wants to see the bad guy get taken out. One of the two, right? But deep down, everyone, all of these different heathens want this man to go, right? They want new rulership. Deep down, they know that something ain't right, right? This is Romans 8 and 19. For the earnest expectation of the creature waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of God, right? Thus, therefore, proving the point, right, of the whole video, right? And then, Spirit has a way about we can go back to this precept, right? Proverbs 29 and 2, for the righteous, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, right? So when the children of Israel are in that rulership power, right, in that rulership seat, people are going to be rejoicing. Right? I'm going to finish with Isaiah, the second chapter, right? It says, and it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of Yahweh's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. Right? Many people shall go and say, come ye, right? And let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, which mountain means, represents a government. It says, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths, right? Which once again proves that those people in that land ain't the real ones, right? Because no one's trying to do the things that they do, right? Unless it's some kind of wickedness, right? So for out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem, and he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks, right? Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. So in the kingdom, there ain't gonna be no more wars, right? You look what's happening in the Ukraine at the moment, where just enough man just getting bodied, right? Different estimates change. Some are saying 100,000, some are saying 170,000 men dead, right? That's some, those are people's, dads, brothers, right, sons, just dead for what? For nothing, right? To fill this man's coffers, as they say, right? So that Raytheon stock price can go up, right? So that this man can shed blood, right? Just a waste. But ultimately, yeah, what do we care about? We care about what ultimately Yahweh cares about, is the elect, right? He cares about the nation of Israel. About right now, it's about the elect of that nation, right? So yeah, Lord's what I was edifying. Till next time we say Shalom.